What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Lunch with the Clydesdale. My name's Scott Switzer. I am the Clydesdale. Today is my lunch hour. We are taking a break from the workday. It's a Friday. Glad to be a Friday. Seems to be a little bit of a slow news day, but we're gonna get through it. We're gonna make some stuff up. Gonna start with my dart throw. I'm gonna try something new today. Going lefty at the dart board because right-handed has not been working. So we are going lefty. Maybe. Not too bad for a left-handed shot. Guys, for lefty, I will show you where we ended up. I don't know if you can see that. There it is. It is kind of down and to the left a little bit, but we're on the board. The last couple right-handed throws have not got me on the board. So that way I don't have to go up and over the computer that way. So we're just going to try it. So there we are. That's today's dartboard throw. What's going on, Meredith, Kenneth, Corey, Jody? Lunchtime, selling kitchens, listening along. Sell all the kitchens, Jody. Sell all the kitchens. Yeah, I just had some grapes. And they were teeny tiny little grapes, but they were so good. So good. Really enjoyed those. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but got the new haircut. So my hair's not super long anymore. A lot easier to take care of. A lot easier to get ready for these shows and for my corporate meetings that I have to do throughout the day. So really excited that I got that done yesterday. Got to catch up with my hairdresser and got all that done. So that was awesome. But yeah, like I said, it's been a slow kind of day. Not much is happening. I'm hearing rumors that there's some difficulty in getting the stream up. I'm not a member of the Seven Eastas chat, but I'm hearing in the chat that there's rumors that they're having trouble with power, having trouble with the stream, and hopefully we'll have something this afternoon from NorCal because I'd really like to watch it. I said at the end of yesterday's show that I will give a lot more grace to them because of the situation this weekend. That ain't a rumor. That's a fact. Stream won't be live. They're filming, coming back, and uploading. What a bummer. Yeah. That kind of stinks. I don't know. I would think that you would know prior. I think you would know some of the conditions prior to. You're outside. You're in a park. You probably know you don't have like broadband internet being piped in. So you'd probably have to use hotspots. And I don't even know how that would work. I've used them at some of the events that I've worked at to just upload stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Heard it was an internet issue. The only feasible option was to rent a whole tower. Okay. I know, like where I work, we have hotspots. When I would do trainings in remote locations, we would take those with us to be able to get internet where there wasn't internet available. But that still works off of a cell tower, and you know how loaded that cell tower would be would really affect the bandwidth of anything you were doing. So they had Starlink. They tried to use Even Rays 60 feet in the air, not working. Wow. That is crazy. That's crazy in this day and age. Like, I think like internet has got to be one of the most important commodities in today's world. And I've been to this through work and through some conferences. I've seen this guy speak a couple times, and he actually says that like your national economy is based on can be based on the cost of internet per person. And there are countries that are gaining ground economically because they have free internet throughout their country. And so I think that that's fascinating that in the capital of California, because they're in Sacramento, correct? We're still having issues just getting basic internet to a park. Uh, and if you're using Starlink and not being able to get it, that's even more fascinating to me. Because like they're using Starlink in the desert in Afghanistan and can't get it in California is mind-boggling. Meredith says, just how often the boonies are they? Yeah, I don't know. I also know, like, I don't know. We'll see. Aaron Fraser says, common for rural communities. Yeah, that was my thought, Corey. Starlink is supposed to work anywhere, isn't it? Like satellite. That was my understanding as well. But yeah. Now, again, we're not talking like just trying to make a phone call. We're trying to talk about broadcasting an event over that internet. So we're not talking just a basic phone call. And I'm sure the bandwidth that a phone call takes compared to the bandwidth a broadcast would take would be exponentially higher for the broadcast. So it could be just that the limitations of the Starlink trying to get the bandwidth of a broadcast out of Sacramento. But we'll trust they'll do their best to, because I would think that why edit it, right? Just record it, get back to a place where you have internet, upload it quickly, and then you can view it. That seems to be the style they want anyway. So hopefully that'll work. Record it live, no editing, just go back, pump up the feed, and then be done with it. So yeah, I guess that'll work today. I mean, they're already, a couple hours behind me here in Columbus. So I'll just wait until it comes up and avoid competition corner. So I don't really know what anything is going on. Now I just have to avoid Carolyn texting me during this thing. But other than that, yeah, we'll figure it out that way. I'm going to go ahead and give you my finalized picks for NorCal today. And this was done with the assumption that Emily and Bethany would not be there. So my picks on the women's side are 5th place. I'm going with Rebecca Fuselier. 4th place, Hattie Canyo. She would have been higher if I knew that her shoulder was in good shape and ready to go. I have Carolyn in 3rd. I have Kristen Holta in 2nd. And Alex Gazan to win NorCal. So again, Rebecca Fuselier 5th, Hattie Canyo 4th, Carolyn Prevost 3rd, Kristen Holta 2nd, Alex Gazan 1st. On the men's side, I'm going with Matt Brady to finish 5th, William Leahy to finish 4th, Nate Ackerman to finish 3rd, Spencer Panchik 2nd, and Colton Mertens to win. So again, Matt Brady 5th, William Leahy 4th, Nate Ackerman 3rd, Spencer Panchik 2nd, Colton Mertens to win. And so the tickets would go to Alex Kazan and Kristen Holta on the women's side, and Colton Mertens and Spencer Panchik on the men's side. I'm sorry, not Colton. Colton already has his ticket. Spencer Panchik and Nate Ackerman on the men's side. Yes, it's possible to stream content using Starlink, but the experience and quality may vary depending on factors like location. Looks like Corey looked it up and is giving me the Google. Device usage and Starlink network connect conditions. Starlink offers high-speed internet with download speeds ranging from 50 to 150, a concern particularly for live streaming, and may require adjustments to streaming settings, which is generally sufficient for streaming high def and 4K content. However, upload speeds and network reliability can sometimes be a factor, I'm sure. Yeah. Aaron Fraser, many people saying the programming isn't good for Colton. I disagree. And I think other people disagree. I think that if you listen to Taylor and Hiller go back and forth last night on the pre-show, Hiller does not think it's good for Colton. Taylor thinks it's very good for Colton and that Colton is going to do just fine and be hard to beat on a majority of these events. I think that Colton has closed a lot of his holes, and I think that this programming is fine for him. Thoughts on who the odd events help hurt, like who can adapt to something new? I think the more athletic you are, the quicker you are to adapt. What I found fascinating to hear is that Taylor has already done lunging wall balls in the past because of his knee injury. He actually did them because it was easier on his knees than squatting. And so it's something that's been done in the past. But I think anytime that you put something together that's odd or different, the more athletic you are, the better you are prepared to modify and adapt. So I think that's why I have Carolyn in 3rd, because someone who has played hockey and won national championships in hockey, in soccer, in jiu-jitsu, the athleticism that woman possesses is going to help her adapt to all of these new items. I also think that someone like Spencer is really good at adapting to things like that, because he played sports young. And I see what you're saying about Bill or Aaron. What about Bill being the most athletic male? But Hiller says he's not good at adapting to things. So that was odd to me, because I would have thought that Bill would have been the most athletic as well. Also think Emily Rolfe is there. Taylor said he saw her husband on site. Well, that's good. Hopefully she is feeling good and can do well. Ken Walters, it's near perfect for Colton. His engine and ability to go dark is in anything new. Yeah, I think the one event that kind of concerns me with Colton is the gator pull, or the truck pull, and moving the D-balls into the trunk of the gator before he moves it. It's just covering that distance with weight. Someone like Bill with a much longer stride is going to be better at that than Colton with the shorter stride. And then pulling that gator, it's going to be short, choppy steps for Colton. And maybe that is for Bill too. I don't know how grippy the ground is going to be for them doing that. So that's going to be interesting. So that's the one event I would be a little bit reluctant to call Colton on. Ken says he moves pigs and trucks all day. He'll be fine. He'll be fine doing it. I just don't know about the speed at which he will do it. It's still covering a distance with weight. And I think in those cases, the longer stride will help. So, but we'll find out soon enough for sure. The last thing I really have on my agenda, and then I'll open it up to you guys with whatever, is I was watching Grant's thing about CrossFit messing up. I think it was he put out this morning. And I don't disagree with that concept that CrossFit screwed up. No, Jay Birch, we're not talking about his running. I think he's saying that NorCal should have 5 to 10 spots to give to the games because of the field that's there. I think, as someone said, he was high for saying that. I don't disagree with that either. I think he's high for saying 5 to 10 spots should be awarded out of NorCal. The fields are not that deep. But I do think that they messed up where they did put the online qualifying event in the middle. It should have been at the end. I think we all can agree to that now. I think Dave Castro agrees with that. He said so in the week in review. But when this season was started, there was going to be no in-person qualifying event. It was going to be just the Open, the semifinal, and the in-affiliate semifinal, and the games. It wasn't until the season was put together and a couple event organizers came to Dave and said, hey, if we put together an in-person event, can we have a couple qualifying spots? And CrossFit changed their mind in what they were going to do, and they allowed a handful of events to come to them and then offered them a couple qualifying spots to have those in-person opportunities. So again, the cart was before the horse, and then we changed the structure of the season after the fact and tried to make the square peg fit in the round hole. And that's why it's messed up. It's messed up because we didn't have a seamless plan from the beginning of the season forward. In fact, at one point we only had, I don't even know how many, I think there were 9, ended up being 9 qualifying events. In the beginning, we had 8. And then they put out the rules with all the numbers, and then they brought in NorCal last minute after the fact to do one right before the season started, and then had to modify all the numbers after that. I believe that next season, if you're going to use the same components, which who the hell knows if they're going to do that, you have all of the in-person events first with the online piece last, and that is your last chance qualifier with whatever spots are left. And that is the best scenario in this current structure of the season. The other thing I think that is making things messy is that you're letting all of these in-person events make up their own rules. Some are regionally locked, some are not. And why I say this is you also cut from 40 to 30. And you could say that the bottom 10 of the 40 were not great athletes compared to the top 30. But what we did is we cut from 40 to 30, but then we kept some regionally locked qualifying events. And now we have those same people from the 10 going again to this year. So here, I'm going to share my screen. This is the lineup we have at the games so far. So this is on the women's side. These are the people who have registered. So I know like Tia's not on here yet. But we have Mariana Meza, Lexi Neely, Brooke Wells, Christina Levitakis, Emily DeRoy, Lucy McGonigal, Louisa Marquez, Maria Camila Quintero, Sydney McAlishan, Annika Greer, Sierra Mea, Sung Young Choi, Alexis Raptis, Haley Adams, Olivia Kerstetter, Miriam Von Rohr, Fee Sagafi, Amy Kringle, Claudia Gluck, Gracie Walton, Ariel Lowen, Maddie Sturt, Abigail Doman, Jennifer Muir, Lucy Campbell. This is not the best 30 we could get to the CrossFit Games. When I'm reading down these names at the top of the list, there are names here that are definitely not in the top 30. So then if we go over to the men and you look at the list we end up with, Isaac Newman, Morteza Sagat, Ty Jenkins, Peter Ellis, Toby Buckland, Jason Hopper, Harry Lightfoot, Chris Ibarra, Justin Medeiros, Kaylon Souza, Austin Hatfield, Ricky Garrard, Roman, Dallin Pepper, Moritz Fiebig, Callum Clements, Bronislaw Linkowitz, Tudor Magda, Colton Mertens, Jay Crouch, Enrique Moriera, Colin Bossard, Enrico Zanoni, James Sprague, Nick Matthew, Jeff Adler. Eric Mackey says, fix one thing every year, screw up two new things. Aaron Fraser, the athletes don't even understand the season they're competing in. Ken Walters has an American version of this, but we do have to allow Europe and Australia into the mix. We know that there are countries that are better than others at CrossFit at this time. Aaron Fraser, that male list is missing one of the top 5 fittest from the Open. It is. We're waiting on an investigation to find out if he still is one of the top 5 fittest. D. Reed says there is no perfect solution. Every sport has these issues. You can only go by who competes and who wins. It does not matter who could be there or who could win. I disagree with that to some degree. The other thing is most sports have a plan going into the season and don't flip the switch on that plan midway through. And that's what seems to happen every year. And that seems to be what happens every year with CrossFit. Halpin says the issue isn't necessarily the current system. It's that the system changes so often and changes mid-season. Like changing programming or a gym every few months. Ken Walters, I disagree. Other sports are set for years. Maybe a wild card change or something, but never an entire season change format. And if you change the rules, it goes into a vote with the ownership of that league, and they talk about it and they vote on it and they discuss it. It's just not done. in the flash of a pan. Man, there's a lot here. So what does need to change to get that stability? I think you have to have a plan for what the season is going to be, and you stick to that plan for the year. That's it. Doug says that's not true. In junior aquatics, we often do not know when or where a zone qualifier will be, regardless the athletics train for the what if. But I think there's a lot of examples where they do know where the qualifiers are in the season. And you're going to find outliers like this in CrossFit that do not. You aren't going to see growth without sound mechanics, consistency over time at relative high intensity. Someone smart once said that. Doug, I'm not trying to compare it to a professional sport. I'm trying to compare it to just other leagues that when I do my rec league softball, I knew my schedule of games for the season, and I knew that the top 4 went to the playoffs. I knew that, and it was not a professional league, but it was run in a professional manner. I think having a season structure is something that can be done and can be understood. If the athletes don't even know how they qualify, we've got a problem. Edging says, I just say the serenity prayer. That helps too. Other sports are in some cases over a century old. I wonder how long it took for them to stabilize to the formats that we know today. It's a good point. Eric Mackey, worldwide rankings was a good idea in theory, but holes pokes before the season even started, not vetted properly. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm really anxious to see who's going to buy CrossFit because they may make some changes that will be good and things that we need to see. And I just would like there was a stable time in CrossFit from 2011 to 2018 where we knew what the season structure was. The regions may have modified, but we knew the structure was open regional games. And that was when CrossFit grew the fastest. To the point where, if you believe some of the media people out there, that major networks wanted to air the CrossFit Games and the regionals after the 2018 season. Then it all blew up, and ever since then, we have not had the same season 2 years in a row. Shelby Neal didn't know she was eligible to compete at NorCal. She thought it was regional based. That's a problem. There are a lot of good ideas that never get time to grow on the vine. Exactly. I'm not saying that some of the structures they put together were bad. Some of them had good ideas in them, but we never left them in place long enough to allow them to mature and grow and to be understood. So the last thing I wanted to address in Grant's little rant that he put out there today was, and that's Keeping It Real. If you Grant from Keeping It Real put out a video. He also talked about the WFP. And I have two things about his statement that just have been grinding my gears for a while. And that is that the WFP is not the CrossFit Games. Comparing Tour Stop 1 to the CrossFit Games is just not fair. Tour Stop 1 is one component to their ongoing season. The drama has yet to build. It was the first time we got any data. Tour Stop 2 will get some more data and the leaderboard will shuffle, and then things change and it becomes more dramatic. And then we go to the World Championships, and then there's even more drama, and it's going to build. There has been no time to allow that season to develop and build. I'm not saying that the CrossFit Games are not the pinnacle of the CrossFit Games season or the CrossFit season or the fitness season or whatever we're calling it these days. But to compare it to Tour Stop 1 is unfair to Tour Stop 1. That was just the start of their season. And then he made the statement that the WFP makes you pay back your contract with your winnings. Payback is not the right term. The athlete signed a contract for minimum earnings in the season. So when they start the season, they know at a minimum, I'm going to make this. You can accumulate winnings that are greater than that contract signing and make more money. But at a minimum, you're getting X number of dollars. They don't give it to you and then say, you didn't win enough, pay it back. Or, hey, you won, here's the check, pay it back to us. It's not a payback. It is a, hey, we're signing you and we're guaranteeing that you will make at least this amount of money. Then, as the season plays out, you can win more than what that minimum is. And if you win more than the minimum, you get the overage in addition to your minimum. Jaybird says it sounds like a loan. It is not a loan because you never have to pay it back. Even if you go through the season and you never win an event or never win $1, you are guaranteed that minimum amount of money for the season, and you never have to pay it back. All it's saying is that if you do win and you win more than that minimum, you get to win all of that prize money. And you don't even need the minimum part of our contract. Ken says, that's the athlete's responsibility to understand their sport no matter what. That's like an athlete saying, I didn't know that was a banned substance. Do your research, Shelby. The current structure has HQ dependent on third parties keeping the season afloat. Did any of them make money? You'd have to ask them, but it'd be hard to imagine many of the events making money. Torian probably made money. Jonathan Ortega I thought it was based on Region 2 since all the others were. Not all the others. There were only 3 that were based on region. TFX, Syndicate, and Africa, Rebel Renegade Games. They were the only events that were based on region. Andrew Sten. So if a contract is for $20K and the athlete wins $30K in an event, they only get $10K extra, not $50K. Well, it's better put as if the contract is for $20K and the athlete wins $30K at an event, they get $30K and anything they win beyond that, they get as well because they have gone above their minimum. It's not extra. It's they won the 30K and then they are past their minimum. So they will win everything moving forward for that year. Andrew, it's been done in tennis for years. Athletes used to get an appearance fee. So they were guaranteed at least some money if they showed up to a tournament. And if they won above and beyond that, their prize money was the prize money, and they didn't get the appearance fee because they exceeded it. It's just to guarantee that you have some money. It doesn't suck. You go into a season knowing you have money to pay for it. And you have the ability to make way more than that. They didn't sign a contract for 20K. They signed a contract saying they could earn no less than 20K for the season. Benita said, if athletes thought that sucked, then they shouldn't have signed up. I think CrossFit athletes who usually don't make any money from CrossFit are probably happy to have guaranteed income. I agree completely, Benita. Ken Walters, the part that sucks for the winners is an athlete could finish last every event, but still get the contract amount. They can just coast. But they're going to coast for the minimum. They're just going to coast for the minimum, and they're not going to get a pro card for the next year. So then they won't have that option next year. Edging, anyone who ever worked on a draw versus commission should understand. There are going to be athletes that take advantage of the guaranteed money. And if they're hurt or I love Bethany to death, but take Bethany, for example. She knew she had a minimum and all she had to do is show up for that. And she got a third of her minimum because she showed up for that event in Indianapolis. If Austin wins again, he gets that extra 30K, keeps pro card, and he wins the championship. He wins that also on top of the minimum contract. Correct. And next year, the athletes who coast get $0, and Colton, Annika, and Fee get a contract minimum. Correct. So there's definitely a penalty for coasting. It means you get nothing the following year. I actually love the concept because right now, like in CrossFit, you get no money for anything. You have to pay your way there. You have to pay your expenses to be there, so on and so forth. It's just an effort to be somewhat different in giving athletes an opportunity. And what can they do with it if you take a little bit of that pressure off of the athlete and see what happens? And we need to let it play out to see what that is. Halpin says the first year is wonky because they hand selected them. Every year forward, it's merit based. And every year forward, it's even more merit based. The further down the road they get, the more legit those top 20 are. And Doug wants to know where the money comes from. It can't be based off attendance. Is it really sustainable? the way I look at that is it's just like with my Chicago Bears. I want them to sign all the free agents. I want them to have the best players they can possibly get. Do I care where that money comes from? I do not. I just figure they own the team and they made a plan and a budget to be able to buy those players. I'm assuming the same thing with the WFP. They know what they're getting into. They had to put together a budget. They have money coming from somewhere, and it's not my responsibility to make sure it's sustainable. It's theirs. I don't need to know how the hot dog's made. I just want a good hot dog. And Jonathan could be right. Maybe it's cocaine and drugs, baby. Corey is telling me that every NFL team has commercial revenue, TV revenue. Right, but I don't care. I don't keep a ledger of that stuff. I don't care. And Doug wants to know if the hot dog is lips and butts. I get it. But their sustainability has nothing to do with me. I will tell you that I enjoyed the WFP broadcast and the athletes participating in that event more than 80% of the online syndicate or online qualifying or in-person qualifying events. Other than Mayhem and Syndicate, it was hard to have a good field with a good stream to watch something as good as WFP. Chicago Pro Sports team money still coming from the Capone crime syndicate. I would not be surprised. And Jeff says that there are even beaks and butts in hot dogs. So anyway, I'm trying to just explain the contract aspect of WFP because everybody's like, it's not fair. It's not fair. It is way fair. They are guaranteeing a minimum. You can earn above that minimum through the year if you have a good season. And if you're coasting to just collect the minimum, you're gone. But with that, guys, my lunch hour is just about over. Don't forget today at 2 p.m., which is just 1 hour from now, we are going to have Reese Littlewood on the show. I am interviewing her after her great 2-win performance at the Syndicate Crown. So that'll hold you over until the broadcast gets their recordings back to the room and uploaded. And then you can jump right after Reese Littlewood. You can jump into NorCal Classic coverage after they get it uploaded. Halpin, they've done one single event with less than 250 athletes. Everyone is comparing them to an 18-plus year competition that is the pinnacle of the sport. It's Waza with 3 events versus 2. And I'm going to leave you on this. More importantly, how does the community get back together? There is a clear divide, and there is. And I want nothing more than the community to come back together because I love this community. I love this sport. I love this methodology. It saved my life. And that's why I'm here every day at lunch to hang out with you guys on Lunch with Clydesdale. Now, you knuckleheads, it's time to get back to work. We'll see you in an hour with Reese Littlewood. Bye, guys.